The following stories are based on personal experiences and opinions. Names and details may be changed to protect privacy. The content is for entertainment purposes only.
Drama, betrayal, and the stories you won't believe.
Welcome to our X-Files. Hi friends, welcome back. If you're new here, we're so glad to have you. Buckle up because today we're diving into the messy middle where healing meets truth and growth gets loud. No sugarcoating, no filters, just raw conversations that need to be had. Okay, Kristina, tell us what your story is about.
Okay. So I told you guys before on a previous episode about a CPS case that was opened against me and my husband and how it affected our family. And I did tell you on that episode that there was another CPS case that happened. So today I'm going to share the second CPS case that had happened while we were married. Well, we're already fucking married, but while we were living in the same home and around the same time, it was probably 2 years later, there was another CPS case that had opened. And because it is CPS and involving like a agency like that, I do have to make a disclaimer that this story is my personal experience and my perspective. It reflects how events felt to me and what I was told at that time. So now that we have that disclaimer out of the way, here is what happened. So we thought the nightmare was over once the apple juice case was closed, right?
Right.
And then we find out that another CPS worker called and said, "We're coming over. You have an open case again." And so we were like, what the hell? Like, what now? And who opened it? Because before we knew who opened the other one, because they gave us a heads up. And this time we were like, what is this CPS case involving? Like, what is it? Who did it? How did they do it? And I don't know if you know this about CPS, but you have to have like a legitimate claim for something to open, right? So I don't know how this claim got opened, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I don't really know much about CPS. I've never had any personal cases opened against me or had to open
Thank
any
God.
cases.
Yeah.
So I don't really know the process.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Real quick, I won't even tell that one. That's going to be for another story. But yeah, it's hard because everything is word of mouth, and a CPS a CPS caseworker has to determine whether these allegations are harmful to the children, could be credible, or like the legitimacy behind it, if they're willing to investigate it, or if they just think, oh, nope, this is just a ex being like cruel again. Right? Like a toxic ex, just, going after them again because whatever reason, right? So I don't know what made this CPS case and caseworker open the case, because the subject matter was an accusation that my husband and I showered together. And while we showered, we asked the older one to watch the kids. And I guess this caseworker was told it happens like every day, pretty much all day long. And he's basically, the oldest child is basically in charge of the kids nonstop because we're always showering together.
That is nuts.
Isn't it so weird?
That is the weirdest story. Like, who showers all day?
Yeah. And then also to like it's not just embarrassing, but it's a wild story to tell someone like, oh, they shower all the time together and my oldest child has to watch the kids, all three of them, the younger ones, because they're always intimate in the shower and they're together in the shower for so long.
That is so weird. But I do remember your shower at your old house, and it was big. I loved that.
It was massive. I would wash all four kids at the same time.
Yeah.
All the time. Literally, I just like put them in there, use the hose, and get them in and out. It was like the biggest shower ever. But to have like a case opened up against that or about that was like the wildest thing.
Yeah, it was so ridiculous, honestly.
It is so ridiculous. So they're like, we're coming over. We have another open case. We're going to check things out. So we were so confused. And at that time, we didn't know why. But when they came in, they told us like, hey, this is happening. And this is what was said. They wanted to know like if it was true or not. And of course, routinely, they have to ask all the kids these questions. Like, do your parents shower a lot together? Which is so fucking weird to ask a kid. Do your parents shower a lot together? Does your older brother watch you a lot while your mommy and daddy are showering? And ask the older child, like, does this happen? Is there any, and of course, we let them question the kids and showed around the house. And of course, the outcome was, a closed case immediately. And the kids literally answered fully. And the oldest child was like, that was so weird. I don't even think I have ever watched the kids while you guys have showered together, and I don't remember you and dad showering together, like ever. Because I wouldn't be like, hey, your dad and I are going to go shower, watch the kids. We'll be hours long. If we ever did take a shower or if we were in our room, our door was never locked. ever, number
Mhm.
one. But our bathroom door would be shut, not locked. Like we always would keep everything open. Our bedroom to this day is still an open concept. Like come lay with us, come hang with us. Like we have an open door policy no matter what.
Yeah.
So to think that a CPS case was opened because the ex just couldn't, I mean, in my mind, she must have thought in her head, they must shower together.
And she was just jealous that you showered together,
yeah, she
honestly.
must have just been thinking about it a lot and thought, I can't get this out of my mind. I never want them to shower again. So I'm going to open up a case. I mean, I don't know if she did it.
Mhm.
I'm assuming so. But for her to like call CPS, if that was her, or for her to talk to someone else and have them report it, if that's true, I don't know. But just to know that someone was stewing on it and came up with this like weird idea, like, hey, I'm going to like falsify a shower concept because of the erotica behind it. And, you know, that the oldest child always has to watch the kids because they're so sexually active. Like, to me, that's, you know, obviously a lot of time that they're consuming their brain energy on, and also a lot of obsession work because like they're completely obsessed with the fact that we could be showering together a lot. I don't
Yeah.
like, where does this come from?
I don't know. They're just having like random thoughts about you guys showering together, and they're coming up with some story trying to
It's-
get you in trouble with CPS.
I know. It's so crazy. But you know what's so good that came of it? So after this case,
Yeah.
because the first one was the apple juice, the second one, and it was a different caseworker this time.
Yeah.
The second one with the shower accusation and it being, you know, totally unfounded and dismissed. They didn't even do the 6-month thing. I think it's because it didn't relate to alcohol and children and weapons.
Yeah.
So it was just like, why are we here wasting government money? Why are we here wasting valuable time that we could be helping other children?
Exactly.
You know, like the entire system was abused, you know, and their hours were like that they were getting paid was going to the wrong people. Like we were not the ones that they should be seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And because of this, they actually were so upset. The caseworker said, I can't believe this has happened to you twice now. I'm going to flag this person that, you know, started the case. She wouldn't identify who it was. I asked for copies of the records. Everything's blacked out. So I can't see.
So they can't disclose who opened the case.
No.
Okay.
I can only assume, and based off of what they were hinting, was that it was the same person or same entity that it was before.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically said, like, if this person ever calls or, you know, says anything again, this person's flagged in our system. So you will no longer be like a problem. You'll never have a problem with us again. We obviously see that the person might be a disgruntled person from the past, and they're using CPS to weaponize, like, against you.
They're basically just filing false reports.
Yes, and that's illegal too. And they did say that they were warning that person, like, if you do this again, we could press charges. But not only that, but you're flagged in our system, so don't waste our time again.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the good thing that came out of it was that, hey, we never had CPS ever call again.
Well, good, because you didn't need them called in the first place.
Right. And then secondly, that person got like verbally and on a written, you know, notice, like, hey, you abused the system, you falsely did some stuff, we see it, and we're not going to allow it again. Like, you are on a red flag system, so watch out.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully they were embarrassed from their childish actions.
They
Like,
had to have been.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
no, I can't even imagine coming up with that story in the first place,
I
but let alone
know.
filing a report.
Right?
Right. I
I
can't.
know. And to put your kids, honestly, I couldn't imagine like having my kids go through something they don't need to go through and something so scary and nerve-wracking. Like they're being questioned in the office at our house separately and privately without an adult because we weren't allowed to be in there. I didn't know what they were asking. Just like the time before, I didn't know the answers. I had no idea what was going on or if they needed me. But all I could do is just wait and like try to figure out what's going on or what the outcome of all of this was. The great thing is that my kids, you know, I didn't coach them. They have no coaching because I don't even know what it's about.
Yeah.
They're so honest. They're like, nope, 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 nope. And so it was so clear as day. And the other great thing is that like the two older kids knew where it was coming from.
Mhm.
And so it made me and my husband look like sane and the other person look not so sane. And that's also something that needs to be like said because kids see everything and they notice everything, whether they show you or not, they know, you know?
And they're absorbing it like a sponge. So they are aware of what's happening
Yeah.
and probably having an idea of who's causing it.
Exactly. And so if anyone else is going through this that has a disgruntled like ex or spouses, a disgruntled ex in general, like if you ever have gone through a similar situation where something wild like this has happened, like whether it's like through the police or CPS or doctors, we've had that happen too, where doctors are trying to examine the children based off of like false accusations again. We've had a lot of weird stuff like that. Like, number one, your kids will grow to see that. And number two, they will be flagged in the system. And number three, don't lose hope and learn to not be afraid. Because the first time it happened, I was scared to death. Like truly, I lost hair, lost weight, couldn't sleep. I had panic attacks called nocturnal panic attacks at night. And I was having migraines left and right and getting brain scans. Like I was so stressed by this person's actions of the potential of losing my kids. And so I did lose time that I could have been peaceful and happy. In the end I was, but it took a long time for me to get to that place. Like I had to close the case. I had to see things happening, that were, reassuring to me. But the second time this happened, I was like, easy piece of cake, like, like no big deal.
Because you knew your truth and you knew that you obviously the truth would come out. And by staying strong, I think obviously your kids were in a good place, knowing that it was actually false information. It was all false.
Yeah. And knowing also that CPS saw that. So
yeah.
I think a lot of people get afraid of like government systems like that, or someone managing it that might not see it for what it is. But in my experience, they did, and they did immediately. So if you're going through something like that, just remember those three things and remember that you're not alone and you will get through it. It doesn't last forever. And as soon as those kids turn 18, or as soon as, they call this a cooling off period, where like the ex, like, and you need, or your spouse and the ex, whatever the case may be, it's called a cooling off period, where it takes like 2 years for everyone to calm down before they can be friends again. In my case, that has never happened. The cool down period never stopped. It was always hot as fuck. So it was never like a situation where I could go, oh, well, in the end, we were good. Like, oh, we went through a crazy time. It was like always one thing after the other until they turned 18. And then I didn't have to deal with it. Neither did my husband. So if you're in a situation like that where you just are constantly dealing with stuff, just know as soon as they turn 18, you no longer have to respond to anything.
Or hopefully they will be in a better position than you, and they will go through the cooling down period, and it only lasts 2 years, and hopefully everyone can get along.
Right.
I mean, you had like the worst of the worst. So you didn't get so lucky, but maybe other people might get lucky. So if you can give yourself a 2-year grace period to hopefully be able to deal with these crazy accusations or, things that are happening, then you'll get through it.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I guess.
So don't lose hope. You can either have a cool down period, or you got to wait till they're 18. But either way, don't lose hope with you and your partner or your kids. And just know the system is built to protect you, even though at the time it might feel like it's there to, take your kids from you,
Yeah.
It's
so
they're not. They will see your truth, and they will see the truth. That's what they're supposed to do. So, Elise, what do you have for us today? I'm so excited to hear your story.
I feel like all of my stories are so crazy. You're like, where do I get them? I know.
Yeah.
And this was actually really scary. But it was also before the iPhone and like nowadays you can have like a tracker on an iPhone. Everyone can follow your location, right? You have location sharing, you have Snapchat sharing. I mean, we all share our locations with people so that it's like you're safe or whatever, right?
Right.
So let's keep in mind that all of this was before that time.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you've ever dated someone that maybe knew too much, like things that you never told them, where you were, and even now. So if you're dating someone that knows too much and you haven't shared your location, I think that's a big red flag. Okay.
Yeah.
So it started off with this situation, like sweet, he'd say things like, text me when you get home, make sure you're safe. And I would be like, oh, that's so nice. He just wants to make sure I'm home safe.
Yeah.
So I'd tell him, but soon he didn't just want to know when I got home. He wanted to know everything. And he did. He would know when I was leaving my parents' house, when I stopped to get gas. He even knew one time when I packed my bag and I had put it into my car before I even left my parents' house. He texted me. He's like, where are you going?
What?
Yes.
And I have a camera on you?
No, he had people watching me.
Elise.
I know.
I don't know the story.
It's so crazy. Okay. So literally he knew everything.
Tell me the story. I have to hear it.
I know. I was honestly shocked too. But I'd be like, this is so crazy. Like, how does he even know I have a bag packed right now? And I was scared, right? So I was younger. I was in my 20s and I was nervous. I'm like, what the heck's happening, right? I lived with my parents, thank God. But one night I started to notice all these random cars that had dealer plates on them. So, and the reason I say random cars is because it'd be like the same few cars that were behind me. And so I would say I did not really ever pay attention to my surroundings.
When you say behind you, are you talking like when you're driving?
When I'm driving. And I noticed this, I'll never forget. I was actually with my sister and she's like, turn left here. I turn left. That car turns left. And I'd be like, she'd be like, turn right. I'd turn right. And this car was literally following me everywhere I went. It was so scary. And so literally every time I would even get this gut feeling, I would look behind me and it was like a random car. This guy knew everywhere I was going.
Yeah.
And so when I was with my sister this day, I was like, okay, I'm just going to go to the cops. Like I'm going to the police station right now. I was scared. I was like, why is this car following me everywhere I'm going? I'm like scared to even go where I was heading. I don't even know where I was going. I just know I was like, my sister's like, we're going to the police station right now. So we went to the Buckley police station and guess what? They couldn't do anything about it. And you want to know why? Even though I took pictures of the car, I took pictures of the license plate, I showed them all these text messages from this guy that was my ex. They said they couldn't really do anything about it because it was dealership plates, meaning it was cars. So one of his friends owned a dealership and they had dealer plates was what they called them. And they put them on these cars. So they weren't technically registered to anyone. It was just registered to a dealership. So there was nobody.
So they had no clue who the driver was.
So they had no clue who the driver was. They were all just part of like this dealership. So technically these cars could just follow me around stalking me. And there was like nothing that could be done.
What the hell?
I know it was
I'm wondering what guy this is. This is Mike.
No. I'm not going to say which one it is.
You get.
No, it wasn't. I know. So I will never forget just that fear of knowing that someone was following me around. My ex-boyfriend literally knew my every move. There was nothing that I could do about it. And I would be at my parents' house just like scared to leave because I didn't know if, this particular ex of mine, he had a lot of friends that I think that were involved in not so legal things. And so I was genuinely scared for my safety. So I felt like I was trapped in this very toxic relationship. Even though he was my ex, he was trying to always get me back, keep me stuck around. And this was just one of his ways to control me.
Yeah.
He was controlling my every move. I couldn't even leave my parents' house. And there was times when I'd have to call the police and they would just be waiting outside my parents' house because we were like scared he was going to show up there, or he had friends that were part of, I don't know if they were part of gangs or what they were part of, but yeah, I think they were. And so
I remember.
We were just so scared that I was like scared for my parents, scared for me. I just felt very trapped.
Yeah. Super unsafe.
Yeah. It was a very, very unsafe experience. So if you've ever been with somebody that you feel like knows too much, you really got to trust your gut. In this situation, I wouldn't say I really have a great outcome or a great lesson because honestly, I felt like in this particular situation, nobody could help me.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say like, our system failed us or failed me, but I kind of feel like it did because unfortunately there's so many loopholes that they couldn't really do anything about it. They tried to protect me the best they could, but what are they going to do? I have a guy stalking me. I have people following me. There's no registered person. There's no way to really prove it's this guy.
Yeah.
And so they were doing the best they could based on the information I gave them.
Yeah.
But I just remember feeling so helpless. And I feel like a lot of people out there that are in similar situations, maybe with a toxic ex, maybe like a marriage that they're even in where they have like a really scary husband that they're trying to break things off with.
Yeah.
There's so many people that I feel like are so fearful for their safety and there's literally nothing that can be done.
And it'll stop them from leaving that relationship because of it.
And that's what stopped me from like ultimately like breaking up with him like 100%, even though we were on and off. I was so scared for my safety and my parents' safety that I felt like, oh, if I stay with this guy or I keep him happy or I keep him not mad at me, it will keep me safer or it will keep my parents safe. So I just kept on feeling like I had to be like, stringing along with this guy, basically, because if he got mad at me, who knows what he would do.
Right.
And that was a scary feeling.
So how did it end? Did it just stop one day?
No, this went on for probably months and months and months. And I'll go into a story later on. I'll tell another story on a different episode about where he showed up to when I started finally dating somebody else. This was, probably a year after all this. He'd been stalking me for a really long time.
Wow. Like a year then? Because a year later, if he showed up with you dating someone,
I was trying to move on. Still
watching you for a year.
Still watching me. The next morning, he showed up at the guy's house that I'd stay the night at with a gun and threatened him.
Elise.
I know.
That's crazy.
So he literally would follow me around everywhere, follow the people I was with around it. I was genuinely scared to do anything. I felt like I couldn't even date other people. I was literally just trapped in this horrible,
Wow.
horrible
Did he visit
situation.
you at work at all during this time?
Yeah, he'd come to my work.
Oh, you couldn't get away.
I couldn't get away. He would seriously, sometimes I worked at a coffee shop at this time. He would literally just sit up there in the parking lot,
Oh
just
my
sitting up
God.
there,
That's so scary.
acting like he was just working, doing emails or something from his truck.
Yeah. And
It
you're
was
like, what the hell?
Yes, I literally could not get away from this guy.
Oh my God.
Basically, he would just he would show up places, and so I would fear for my safety. And even if I, like I said, if I was trying to date somebody else, I would be scared for them. After
Yeah.
he did that, I was terrified. I was like, oh my gosh, he could have literally shot this guy. This poor guy didn't even know he was signing up for just hanging out with me.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And so after that, I would have to warn people, like, I can't really hang out with you. I have a psycho ex. Like,
oh my God.
I seriously did. I mean, there
Wow.
was like one guy I'll never forget. He was like, I really could care less about your psycho ex. He can come for me if he wants, you know?
Yeah.
So this guy literally never stopped ever until I finally started dating a police officer. And I think that was my only saving grace. So even though that relationship ended horrible, I will say that I'm forever thankful that I was dating someone that was in law enforcement, because I think that helped protect me in a very odd way, but it
Yeah.
helped me get away from this guy who would literally not leave me alone. But knowing that I was starting to see somebody that was a police officer, I think it kind of made him realize, like, I better leave her alone
I gotta
finally.
back off.
Yeah. So that was really how this all ended. Was finally he just knew that there was no chance to keep stringing me along, because I was
Yeah.
dating someone that was in law
And he
enforcement and
knew
wouldn't
he
be happy.
couldn't scare the new person either.
Or
'cause
maybe
that
he couldn't
person's
beat
always
that
packing.
system. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That guy had a gun and he wasn't going to let this guy be intimidating him.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was this very scary relationship that took up a lot of my life.
Jeez. I hate that guy.
I know.
He's awful.
I know. He was horrible.
Because even before, I think I was calling him the Tinder swindler. No, I think that's a different guy. But your exes like are show worthy. Like they in documentary style, your situations like literally remind me of these, and I love documentaries. So it's just crazy because you'll tell me a story and I'm like, oh my God, click, that's just like a show I watched. Truly.
I know.
You could have your own Netflix documentary about this one specific person that you dated,
Yeah.
and then another one about the other person. Like,
Yeah.
it's
This
time
guy,
for you to come out with a book.
I know. I should, but I think, like I told you before, like I would literally try and just bury all this because I just want to pretend it never happened to me. But by us doing this podcast, it's made me realize that hopefully by sharing my stories, it can help other people that are maybe going through something similar to realize, like, okay, I'm not stuck here. How can I find myself some hope and help to get out of this? Because I think when you are in it, you're so hopeless. Like you feel like just trapped. And I remember being in that relationship, just literally feeling trapped and scared for my life.
Yeah.
And like no one can help me. No one can help me. And I think that just beats you down to a place where I think a lot of women just stay because there's literally, they have no way out.
Right.
Right. And so I feel like that's what was where I was for so long. And then finally, I don't even know what happened to me, where I just got this strength to be like, no, Elise, you've got to figure this out.
Yeah.
And so then I finally got a little bit of strength,
a little bit of
strength. Right.
Yeah. And you know, it's good because I know you sharing it and you not burying it and like letting it go. You have moved on, you have let it go, and you did bury it, and you're unburying it and unpacking it because if people are going through what you had gone through, like, and they're doing that now and they're hearing that you survived it, you went through all of that abusive stuff and scary stuff, life-threatening stuff, and someone that stalked you so hard and wouldn't leave you alone, and now you're happily married with a daughter, you know, if you hadn't made that bold of a move, you'd be in a bad situation right now. Right. And so the fact that you were courageous enough to go through the hard shit and the scary shit is a testament, and it's proof to the people that are going through it now that this is their sign. And it's also good because I think, you know, you had a support system at the time, like your parents, you know, and I don't know if I was around during that time. No, I was, because I was there. Yeah,
you were around, but I think you were also married.
Yeah. But so I knew that, you know, there were threats. I knew that there was physical shit going on. I knew a lot of this stuff, but I think if you were to talk to someone right now and they're going through it, would you recommend they leave? Would you recommend they have a support system? Would you recommend they document everything? What would you recommend they do? Because
Well,
what
yeah,
you're explaining right now in this episode is crazy as fuck.
I
For a
know.
year, he stalked you. And then
Yeah.
he even pulled a gun,
Mhm.
which later you'll talk about on another episode. He followed you at work. He stayed while you worked and worked from his truck.
Yep.
So, what would you recommend to a younger viewer right now that's going through this?
Oh, that is so hard because every situation is so different and every single person is so different that it's hard because I don't want to give someone the wrong advice, especially because everybody's level of, you know, I wouldn't say crazy, but pretty much everyone's level of crazy is different, right? So like his level of crazy might be different than somebody else's level of crazy with what they're dealing with. So I think you have to evaluate the person you're dealing with first off, right? Because we don't really know what people are capable of.
Right.
And sometimes the people that we think are not capable of really hurting us are, and then the ones that we think, would hurt us don't. So I guess it's really scary because, you have to be your best judge when you're dealing with that person is really the truth, right? Because this guy also held me down into a closet at one point and said, I can bury you and no one would find you.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the same guy one time had held me down in a closet and said, I could bury you and no one would ever find you. And so I feel like people have
What prompted him to say that? Were you
me trying
saying
to leave
you're going to
him?
leave?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I feel like you really have to evaluate how you deal with the person you're dealing with based on your experiences with them, because in my mind, all the things that I had led up to where I was with this guy, I was scared that if I did piss him off, then he might really kill me or hurt me. So I personally would just play that role of appeasing him, keeping him happy a little bit longer because I was scared for my life.
Right.
So the only thing I can say is like obviously safety first. So make sure that you keep that in mind when you're dealing with someone like this, but document everything. I feel like the only thing that ever helped me with this guy is that I did document every single thing. Every single time he was sitting outside of my work, I would be documenting it. Good. I would be filming it. I mean, I didn't call the cops every time because I was scared to piss him off. But of course, I would document it on my own and be trying to keep record of it. But then have a plan of how you're going to get out of that situation. If you're trying to just keep this person happy while you're stringing them along to keep your own, obviously your own safety.
Stay safe, yeah.
Then have a game plan of how you're going to get out so that you can get out of that situation. That also keeps you strong, I think, through it. So document everything, have an out plan.
Yeah.
And just figure out how you're going to get out and get out safe.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best I can say.
Definitely, I also would suggest making sure at least one person knows.
Yeah, and I think that's the really good advice.
Went to like court or anything like that, if any like charges were ever brought up, you would at least have a witness, Yeah,
I think a witness is really important, and the hard thing is that I don't know if other people, I mean, I'm sure there are other people that are like me. I was also very embarrassed about the situation, and which is probably why you didn't know a lot about it. I was embarrassed, not only terrified, but I was embarrassed that I was living like this and then also staying in this, right? So it's like, I think a lot of people are in an abusive relationship or something like, and they're ashamed of it and they don't want anyone to know.
Better.
Yeah. Like I knew better, but I also felt like I was scared. So I feel like you have to tell people, even though you think that you don't want to, and you're embarrassed, find somebody that you know and trust that loves you and that's going to be there for you and that can help you through it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great takeaway, because at the time it took a long time for you to, do that, but you did it in a safe way that worked for you. And then finally finding someone that worked in law enforcement that you ended up, with that person, thankfully, because who knows what else could have happened had you not.
Yeah, I have no idea.
So that also could be something hey, listener, go get a cop.
Yeah, go date a cop for, even if it's not forever.
Or an attorney, right?
Yeah,
because then like you get free counsel and like someone to document everything and fight for you on your behalf. But, whatever the case, definitely I love what you're saying, because back in the day, they didn't have, when this was happening, I don't think they had surveillance like they do nowadays. So you could document video footage in your home, car, whatever, on your phone as well, document things on paper, notes, whatever, of things that have happened, said, done, dates and times, like physical stuff, like your closet incident where he held you down, things like that. So documentation is everything. And then for you, what worked was appeasing while exiting, having a strategy. But not everyone can do that, you know? And so
And if you're also, sorry to interrupt you, but if you're also dealing with someone that's maybe is a stalker, so I know a lot of people share their locations nowadays, but if you're going to share locations, share your location with someone that you trust, that you want them to know where you are. Because if you end up in a bad situation with a person that you're with,
good idea.
like I'm thinking that time when I was in the closet being held down, like if I had the location sharing happening, which wasn't a thing at that time, but had I had that, somebody that I know, like my mom or my dad, somebody would know where I was. And if I didn't come home, they'd be able to find me. And so if you're in a really abusive, crazy relationship, even if you put like an air tag somewhere in your shoe, I mean, I know that sounds nuts, but like there's so many things for technology nowadays, put it somewhere. Make sure that you have a tracker on you and share that with someone that you trust so that you are safe.
Yep. I love this. I feel like domestic violence was not a thing for your relationship, but after hearing about all of these things, even though I knew some of them, I didn't know the depth and how severe they were, but you are a survivor of domestic violence in several of your relationships now. So you're going to be a big advocate for so many people because this topic is huge. Domestic violence is major and it affects so many men and women, mostly women, but I love that you're speaking out on it. And I love that this episode, you shared more than you normally would about like the exact things that happened and that were said. And even without sharing the person's name, they may not be arrested now and they might be doing the same thing to someone else. Who knows? But if someone's in the position that you are in or that you were in now, then they know what to do and they know how to handle it. And then they also have hope because you are the living proof that, you know, you can have a great life after domestic violence.
Yeah, and a happy life without that person.
Amen.
So get out.
Yeah, get out. Don't stay just so that you're safe. Because, I mean, I don't think I've ever heard of a situation where someone that is in a relationship that involves domestic violence that actually got better. You know, I always feel like I always hear like this super sad outcome or kids getting affected by it, you know? So if you're in a relationship like that, like get the fuck out and do what Elise said. Tell people, record everything, document everything, air tag yourself, share your location, have an exit plan. Don't like make that person matter. Like that is smart, you know, like the way you did it, you know, you were very smart and don't feel ashamed, you know, you know your worth and that's why you're noticing these things and trying to have an exit plan or trying to change the path for your future.
Yeah.
You know, there's no shame in that. The only thing that you'd be ashamed of is staying and letting even maybe your future kids together be a part of that domestic violence. So you're doing the right thing by noticing these things and wanting to like change it for your future. You know, I love that story. That's so beautiful today. Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
Yeah. Does your therapist know these things?
Mm.
By the way, we share the same therapist.
I don't know if I've ever told him all of these things, honestly.
Wow. A lot of his clients, I think, or a lot of our therapist clients, I think, are going to hear some of our stories because I do believe our therapist is asking them to listen.
Yeah.
So this is really great, honestly, because, you know, whether they're going through what I went through or what you went through, you know, there's hope. And
well, I will say that he is he is the reason that I got out of a very toxic relationship. I mean, I have him to thank for that.
Yeah.
He gave me really hard, tough advice.
Yeah.
And, you know, at the time I didn't want to listen. Like nobody really wants to listen to, I mean, their therapist or anyone for that matter. They're like, everyone always thinks they're smarter than other people. Right. And so at the time I was like, this guy, no, I don't want to listen.
Right.
I was like, no. And I finally was like, okay, I'll take some of his advice. And I did certain things.
Yeah.
And I saw it kind of working. And so he is to thank for a lot of this. But I don't know. Maybe I should tell him some of my past, but I don't know. I don't really open up about it often, but I'm trying to do it now.
So therapeutic, not because you're not over it, but because it's good to open up those wounds so they can truly heal and help. Not just you, but others, you know, like not that you need the help or not that you need the healing. I do believe that you're healed. I don't think that you understand the scope of what you went through though, because like when you're telling me these stories, if I had gone through that, I would be emotional telling it. You know, I'd be crying because I'd be like, I can't believe I went through that. But I think you're still in a phase where you're you're definitely healed from it, but I don't think you realize what could have happened to you.
Probably true. But I also think that I just am so strong.
You're so strong. Yeah.
That I just, I'm like, listen, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. No, that's probably bad to say because there's so many,
move forward. Yeah.
There's so many bad things that could have happened, but it didn't break me.
Yep.
He didn't break me. He wanted to, but he didn't. And I came out so much better in the long run.
Yeah.
And so obviously there's a lot of struggle to get there.
Yeah.
And a lot of healing that had to happen. But I know that everything that happened to me made me who I am today. And that's why, even though that part of my life sucked and it was horrible, there was so many things that I learned from it. And I'm also so strong from it. And so I'm okay with that. I mean, I always want to say, I wish I could take this back or I regret these decisions, but I don't, because I am where I am today because of them.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have ever met my husband and had my daughter if I hadn't gone through all this shit.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be such a badass mom too, right?
You're badass. Yeah. And you're a great advice giver, and I think it's from your therapy and the stuff you'd been through. So you're really clean cut, clear, no gray, black and white, which is the only way I work and operate too. There's no gray area for me either. So I love that you're very black and white, just like me. But yeah, I hope that everyone found peace, of healing, and hope, listening to our stories today. And I also think we should give a disclaimer. If you are in a situation where you are experiencing domestic violence, definitely talk to somebody. There's hotlines. Maybe we'll list them down below if we can find them. But your safety is first priority.
Yeah, the number one priority is your safety.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So take care of yourself, and we will talk next time on our next podcast. We love you guys so much. Thanks for tuning in to our X-Files. Please comment, share, and subscribe.
If you've got a wild story about your ex, we want to hear about it. Send us your anonymous submission through the link in our bio to be featured on a future episode.
The crazier, the better. And don't worry, your identity is safe with us. Until next time, keep those X-Files coming. Bye.